welcome back to the Benchmark. Today we have Yodith Dammlash, and we're going to continue our interview. So, do you have any major projects coming up?
The major projects I have coming up, I really am just continuing with ones I've already started. A lot of my projects just seem to be ongoing, which I enjoy because I just can keep working on them. One I'm working on, I call the Gamma series, which is about my grandmother. We were talking about that earlier, just documenting her as I have been. Another one is the Natala series. A Natala sort of, as you know, sort of like a shawl or a scarf the Ethiopians wear, mostly Ethiopian women. So I often sort of dress women or young girls in that and shoot them wearing that, usually with dramatic lighting. Then another one I have is called Strands of Strength, which is actually based upon Black women and our relationship with our hair, Black, African, whatever you prefer to call yourself, our relationship with our hair. That actually debuted on theroot.com. So it was finished, but I'm just continuing with it, and I plan on shooting those women again, because that was almost 2 years ago. I plan on shooting those same 5 women again, as well as shooting newer women and just seeing where else it could go. So, and just my regular documentary photography and travel photography and seeing where that can go.
So like the Strand series, was that the Root that contacted you for that idea, or did you come to them, or how did that?
It was sort of a joint thing, because I started it my last year of college, and I guess I did pitch it to them. I forgot that's how that happened. I pitched it to them, and they were already in the works of doing different stories and things about hair, about Black women and hair. So it happened to be perfect at the time. So, but it was definitely a joint collaboration effort with them, because I had their opinions of what they thought about it. So I wasn't just like, this is what I did, take it. But like, it was definitely an opinion, taking their advice, and a joint collaboration for sure.
So like an idea, like I caught some of those pictures, but where does an idea like that come from? What made you decide to pick that topic to follow? Because it's very touchy. It's something that, especially now recently, a lot of Black women are kind of having this, well, not they've always, but lately, there's always been this debate of like, oh, should I go natural? And a lot of celebrities are doing that now. But what made you choose that?
It was really just been, my hair has always been, unfortunately, an issue for me in one way or another, like whether I'm loving it or whether I can't stand it. So it's something that I've, I guess, dealt with all my life. Just different things about my hair. It was long and really, really full when I was younger, and then I got a relaxer, and then it was less full, and then I decided to grow it out. And just the different stereotypes that come with hairstyles. If you're natural, you're down for the cause, whatever that means. If you're not, then, or if you have a weave, you're not. So
you're a sellout.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a relaxer, you're a sellout, just those things. And I've been guilty of those type of stereotypes myself. I think we all have done it subconsciously one time or another, thought something of somebody based on their hairstyle, which is just silly, but
so what would your stance be on such a debate? Because I mean, you're kind of, with the camera, you're carrying kind of a medium by which we can have these discussions, and it can really bring to light, evidence of why one argument can really be better versus the other. And I guess at the end of the day, it leaves us to decide. Did you come to it with like your own opinion, or was it kind of like you were indifferent, or?
I guess I may have subconsciously came to it with my own opinion, because, for example, the 5, I don't remember if it was 5 or 6, but the women that I shot for the last one that was featured on The Root, none of them had weaves. I believe they all had natural hair. I think one girl was in the process of growing out her perm. So I don't know if I went in there like, I'm just going to feature, women with natural hair, but I may have subconsciously done that, because obviously I know people who have relaxers and who have weaves, but I didn't think of them. So I definitely plan on not doing that this time around.
Would you say that a debate like that would be like hyper specific towards maybe blacks in America, or would you say that really it's something with all women?
I think it could be something with all women. I know it's hyper specific to, I greatly feel like it's hyper specific to black women in America, but I feel like it could relate to black women everywhere, and I feel like it could relate to women everywhere. I feel women of different races have other issues with their hair. I feel like, you know, like women of other races other than black probably have their own issues in their communities about their hair and what, you know, what their hair looks like, how they want their hair to be ideally, what it means if it's not. I'm sure they exist. So this is just the community I know,
right.
as I'm exploring it.
So if you could explore something that was specific to the Ethiopian-American community, what do you think could be maybe a top? Do you think you could translate like a similar series to Ethiopian-Americans, or would it have to be something more of like, I don't know, how we're amalgamating or not amalgamating, I guess like enclaves of communities that where you could still see an old woman with her shash, or communities where Ethiopian people are completely assimilated?
I think that could be done. I haven't thought of something that specific to the Ethiopian community, or rather an issue specific to the Ethiopian community, because obviously I have Ethiopian themes in my work, but not so much an issue. So I feel like I could do it. I just haven't thought of one. It's a good idea, though.
So then what would an ideal job be for you? If, like, say for an example, you could just pick up and do whatever, and it would be bankrolled. What would be the ideal?
An ideal job for me would probably be something that is where I'm giving back my knowledge of art and photography, something probably community-based, or even if it is something as simple as a community gallery, something like that, but something also that allows me the freedom and the time to pursue my own artwork. So I know that could probably be an intricate balance, but I think it's there.
So then on that same stream, what subjects really move you? Like, do you find yourself maybe walking along and you'll see something and say, wow, that's something that really strikes me? Is there something that you always find yourself going back to for your work? Is there something that, you know, kind of like your flagship, or
something? Well, it's a couple of things. As simple as it may sound, really interesting faces. I'm always looking at people, always like I'll be on the train, I'm looking at somebody like, I want to take their picture, you know, just based on their face alone. And having no idea if they can model, if that face will translate in a photograph, but so just people's faces, interesting faces. One thing I've been exploring the past year, which actually started on my trip to Europe last fall, is the sunlight and the skyline. I promise you, I never noticed it here in the greater DC, Maryland, Virginia area, but over in France and England, I was just like, oh my God, look at the sun, look at the sky. It doesn't look like that back home. And I've told people that here, and they're just like, you just didn't look up before. But I'm like, maybe, I don't know. But so I'm definitely always looking at the sky lately, just catching the sun when it's about to set. So lately it's always been faces. It's always been faces and people and interesting faces. But lately, I guess I'm somewhat newer. It's definitely the sun and the sky and the clouds. As corny as that sounds.
No. I mean, the work that I've seen, it's true though. I mean, depending on where you are, the clarity of the sky, pollution, I mean, these are all things that, of course, affect. We were talking a little bit off camera about Ethiopian culture and expectations of what it means to be successful or pursuits. Why do you think there's such contention with, you know, people here in Ethiopians here in the States who want to pursue the arts instead of, you know, becoming doctors or engineers? What do you think that is, considering our rich art history?
I think it just comes down to people, or rather the people before us, wanting their offspring to be in a stable environment, which I guess art and things related to that aren't necessarily unstable, but they just don't have the stamp of stability on them.
Right.
So I think they just want something stable, something that they know provides a lot of income, so, you know, people will be more well off ideally. And I can understand that, but you can still definitely do what you want and make some money and be fine.
Right. So on that note, the show is all about, you know, setting a standard.
Mm-hmm.
What's the benchmark for you? Where do you see yourself really hitting that mark? What's your goal?
My goal is to put out a book. I'll put out a photo book, coffee table book, about my time in Ethiopia. Ideally, when that will come very soon, when I could just, like I've said already, just go and shoot and just go crazy, and just my whole time there, to produce a book about it. Maybe it'll be very narrowed down, maybe it'll be pretty broad, just my time there. I don't know, I won't know until I go and start shooting, but
right.
I think that will be the benchmark for me. That will be a big deal for me.
So thanks to Yodith for being featured on The Benchmark. You can catch more of her work, past and future work, on yodithdamlash.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching The Benchmark. I'm Kallie Ejigu. Stay tuned for the next episode.